Hi,
Hello,
guys.
Kat.
Hey, Dan. How you doing?
Oh, doing pretty good. How are you?
Good. Good. Yeah. So,
Well, I
hi, guys.
understand.
Okay, it's Kat Howard with Windermere in Woodinville. I'm a certified residential or certified real estate analyst and real estate broker with Windermere in Woodinville, and just took on a new listing this last week, and we're going to talk about that. And then Dan Mellis with Nexa Mortgage. He's a loan officer that I utilize, or I have my clients utilize as frequently as I can. And he knows a lot about the lending side of things. And so we're just hopping on here to do a live for a few minutes. So today we're going to talk about one of my listings, my newest listing, and up on McKees Beach. So it's a private community. So it's kind of a fun sneak peek in. And then Dan and I are going to talk about Snohomish County and King County real estate and what's happening in the real estate market in those counties. So that's local to our offices here. So anyway, ready, Dan?
I'm ready to go, Kat.
So first question is always a trick question for you. What are interest rates?
Aha. I knew that was coming. So guess what? Not only do I know, I even created some graphics. Look at that. So on the conventional rates right now, 6.444%. APR was 6.13.
Okay.
FH.
6.613. Yeah.
Yeah, for the APR. That's when you include the fees and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then you've got your FHA that's knocking on the door at 6%. And so we're looking right there at 6%.
Like that.
And then the FHA, not too bad. Again, knocking right on the door at 6%.
Just a tad over 6. Yep.
Just a hair's breadth over 6, but we could see lower rates tomorrow. Hope springs eternal. That's all I can say, Kat. It springs eternal, but I do.
Dan's a hopeful one. He's very optimistic. Every time I talk to him, rates are coming down. I feel like. And every once in a while, he's right.
I gotta tell you, I will just give you some inside stuff because this morning I get up and I watch some of the different lenders that we've got, and they have information that comes out, and one of them is UWM, and every day at 6 o'clock in the morning, their president, the CEO, comes on. And it's interesting. So I'm watching this thing this morning, and Matt Ishbia is on. And in all seriousness, the industry is gearing up for a refinance. I don't want to call it a boom, but they're setting up for lower rates, and that's just internally with the mortgage industry. It's not unique to any one company, but they do have an eye on that. I think the expectations are reasonably decent that we're going to be seeing progressively lower interest rates moving forward. But you know what? If that doesn't happen, you can sit back and laugh because it's been a jolly good ride for the last 2 years. So we'll see what happens going forward.
Years, right? Yeah, I had into the third year here. Yeah, for sure. So, okay, well,
let's talk about your listing.
Let's jump into my listing in Stanwood, you guys. So it's got a Stanwood address, but it's over by Warm Beach. It's called McKees Beach, and it's a private waterfront community comprised of about 90 homes, and a lot of them are just tiny little beach cabins. They're on both sides of the street. One side of the street actually is on the water, on the beach, and the listing I have is on the other side of the street, and it doesn't happen to have a water view because the neighbors put fences up a couple of weeks ago. So anyway,
no comment.
Later, no further comment. But we used to have a peekaboo view across the street. Now you have to stand on your tiptoes in the house, and then you can still see the water. My thought is you could build a platform in the backyard and big enough for a couple of lawn chairs, and you could actually sit up there and enjoy it. But that's aside from the fact. But it's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath cottage that's been completely rebuilt in 2018 and continued to be modernized in 2021. And so it's actually completely tricked out with instant hot water, ductless heating and air conditioning, waterproof hardwood plank flooring. What else have we got out there? It's got the original fir ceilings, but it's been completely renovated and rebuilt. So new electrical, new plumbing, new roof. So everything, the exterior has been redone. And so in the last few years, so it really is completely move-in ready. It also comes completely furnished. So not all the furnishings, because some of that is staging, but all the furniture, except for the floor lamp, I think is the one piece of furniture I brought up there. But anyway, so anyway, let's you want to cut straight to the video, Dan, and let's just let you guys see the property cinematic video for this one.
Ready? Here we go.
Yeah.
Welcome to McKees Beach, where you get private beach access, boat launches, and a fully updated 2-bedroom beach cottage. This adorable coastal cottage offers a perfect blend of modern comfort and beach town charm. Just a short jaunt from the shoreline, this 703 square foot home was completely rebuilt in 2018 and thoughtfully designed with an open floor plan, beautiful original wood ceilings, and waterproof laminate wood plank flooring. Enjoy the convenience of a full-size washer dryer, ductless mini split for heating and cooling, and on-demand hot water. This isn't just a beach cottage, it's a full-blown personality. Coastal, chill, a little bougie, like a sea otter with a mortgage. Oh, and short-term rentals are allowed. Hello, investment opportunity. The flat, fully fenced backyard is ideal for outdoor living and comes complete with a garden shed, propane barbecue, covered deck and patio areas, and a game of cornhole. There's even an outdoor sink to clean your catch of the day. Need room for your toys? There's space for the boat trailer, paddle boards, or your SUV packed for crabbing. McKees Beach is that rare mix of relaxed and ready. 5 beach access points, 2 boat launches, and a place to park your boat. That's code for you could totally have a boat now. Explore miles of shoreline with amazing views of Mount Rainier and the Olympic Mountains. Drop a crab pot, paddle into the sunset, enjoy long walks, beach combing, and whale watching. This is waterfront living at its best. McKees Beach is a private waterfront community of 90 homes located just south of Kayak Point, offering stunning Port Susan views with Camino Island as a backdrop. I'm Kat Howard, and I can't wait to show you this ridiculously cute coastal escape. McKees Beach, fully furnished, steps to the sand, and good vibes included. Let's get you living the beach life.
Hey, Kat, I've just got to say, kudos to your videographer. She did a great job on that. Yeah, she did a terrific job.
I was trying to see how to flip my camera here. Sorry. Oops, here we go. Let's get back on screen here. Here we go. Okay, let's see if I can get that down. There we go. Okay, get back set up here. Okay, so that's a video from McKees Beach.
Nice.
So
nice.
you can, obviously there's a kayak that comes with it. with the
Yeah.
property. It comes with the storage shed in the backyard is got a lawnmower in it and some yard tools. The backyard was made to be flat, so you could play bocce ball or cornhole, some good fun yard games. And it comes with a game of cornhole.
You know,
Anyway, and it comes fully furnished with dishes, you guys. Everything you need is there. There's even towels and blankets and beach towels, and it's a couple of beach umbrellas. So
you mentioned, Kat, at one point. You mentioned in that video something about like an Airbnb possibility or short-term, that type of stuff.
yes.
Guess what?
Short-term rentals are available there. You can do whatever you want there.
Yep. Well, and just in case, you never know who's watching, but in case they need it, we do have a short-term rental loan program. So
okay, good to know. Yeah, thanks, Dan.
Yeah,
perfect. I like it. So if somebody wanted to buy it as an Airbnb, they could get a loan for it.
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
cool.
Yes.
Yep. And you guys, just to be clear, you can't see the water. It's really disappointing. You see the water as you drive down and between most of the houses, but there are a few people who have put up 6-foot wood fences and thereby blocking the view to those people that live on the other side of the street. They call it the hillside side of the street instead of the beach side. But the proximity to the beach access, literally you're 2 doors down from one beach access. And my favorite beach access actually is the south end. It's got a beautiful lawn, and the grass rolls right into the sand, you guys, right down there to there's a few driftwood logs, and right there onto the sand and rocky beach there. So it's super easy to access down there. It's a short, flat walk. There's hills here, guys.
I gotta tell you, that video, it was so peaceful there. What a beautiful place.
You can't hear anything except for seagulls and waves. Really, that is really how it is. It is unbelievable. And that beach, it was like 58, 59 degrees at the, when I was driving down there. And on that beach, I was hot and sweating. I mean, and we're talking, it was like 10 o'clock in the morning on Sunday. This last Sunday, we shot another video. It's a deadpan video. Hopefully that one turns out and I can get that out to you guys. Hopefully it should be pretty funny. But when we were shooting that one before 11, it was actually hot on the beach. And when we came into there, it wasn't, but because of the angle of the sun and the beach, the rocks and everything, they just hold the heat. So from the sun, so it was amazing. It's really cool to be in a beach community because it's obviously feels a lot different than being, just in a regular setting.
Yeah.
So you don't have that sun being captured by, the bank and the sand and everything.
Well, I'll tell you that at the end of that video where you got the sun setting on the water. Oh, that's so beautiful.
It's so pretty. I know. It's just beautiful. And again, you could build a platform in the backyard or even behind the backyard. Well, potentially you'd have to talk to HOA about that. But that's what I would do because I would want to be able to sit in my own backyard and watch the water roll in. So You're not going to get amazing, unobstructed views because the house across the street is 3-story, but you would be able to see over some of the other homes. So
and you're right there on the water, one
and you're one right house there. From the water, guys.
One house from the water. That's right.
You're around the corner. If you go left out the house, you only have to walk past 4 or 5 homes before you get to the boat launch. Again, another easy access to the beach. So you can also have mooring buoys out there. You get to know the neighbors and find out whose buoys are whose, and maybe you can borrow one that's already there or talk to the HOA about putting your own in. So I know that they're under some kind of they're looking into trying to identify which buoys go with which home, so that there's they can get rid of the ones that are not being maintained. So because they don't want the mooring balls just floating away, or getting caught in somebody's motor if they sink a little bit. So anyway, but yeah, McKees Beach, It's fun. And
That's
it's
cool.
$800,000, you guys. It's so $800,000. It's not on the water. It's across the street from the water with no view. Dang it. But you get all the salt air. So, and you get a barbecue. And there's a nice covered area in the back, off the back of the house. It also has an outdoor sink. So there's a deck area. And then there's a gravel area behind the deck where you've got your barbecue, which has been covered for years. I'm sure some people have broken it out and used it here and there, but I would say it's probably in pretty good condition. And all the appliances are very, very, very new, lightly used. So
Nice.
anyway, really super cute place. Super cute. Somebody needs to come look at that and just buy it. Like the line in my last video is come buy this listing before I start accidentally paddleboarding. And it's a deadpan video, so you don't say it like that. You gotta get in character, and it's got to be really monotone. So there's no laughing, which is my normal personality is laughing, not deadpan. Anyway, so that's that. That's that listing. It's 800,000. Just new on the market on Thursday. Yeah, and so
cool.
And if you guys need a loan to to operate it as a short-term rental, like Dan was saying, he's got a loan program available. So, shoot us a DM, give us a call, and we can hook you up and get you looking at that. And anyway, it's really cool. It's 2 bedrooms. So the 1 bedroom has a big wall long closet. So the whole side of the wall is closet. And so it is a good size closet. The downside is it's the only closet. So, but the cottage is designed in such a way, it's 703 square feet. The cottage is designed in such a way that you actually can open the double doors to the primary bedroom, which is off the family room, and you're looking directly at the fireplace, and you can watch TV while you're in bed. So it's designed to only have one TV in the space. So it makes a lot of sense. And the pocket doors are real wood. They're solid wood. So they're beautiful. They're just beautiful. I wish we would have had a picture of those closed. It gives a bedroom privacy from the family room if that's what you need. So, and then there's a second bedroom that does not have a closet, but it's big enough for a twin or a queen size bed in there. And again, you could also do bunk beds. So I've seen pictures of this place with bunk beds in that room, which is also another nice use of the space. But right now there's a twin bed in there, and then there's also a desk and a chair. So, and then you've got a full size laundry in the bathroom, and the bathroom is big. There's lots of floor space in the bathroom. They did an addition some years back, and increased the square footage by about 80 square feet, and made the bathroom bigger, and added laundry facilities. So you could do your laundry there with full size washer dryer. But it's got a tub shower combination, quartz counters everywhere, you guys. It's really, really tricked out nicely. Soft close cabinets. The kitchen area is actually a lot bigger than you think of it as being, because there's the whole one corner that's all cabinets and everything. But then along this other wall on towards the bedrooms, there's a whole coffee bar situation with like an entire pantry and more upper and lower cabinets. So there is more storage than you would think, even though there's only one
Kat,
closet.
I got a question for you.
Yeah, I'll try to come up with an answer.
Okay, so it's right there on the beach, right? Beautiful house, beautiful spot.
One house off the beach.
One house off the beach, yes, right there. And then, so how long does it take to get to like the supermarket? Is it like a half-hour drive to the supermarket, or is it less, would you say?
There are a couple of grocery stores, smaller ones, mind you.
Okay.
There's 2, halfway between there and Marysville. So on Marine Drive. And then you can also, sorry, I'm going to sneeze, you guys. There's also QFC and Hagen in Stanwood. And I want to say maybe it takes 15 minutes to get there, but you can also go to Smoky Point. It's a straight shot east to Smoky Point. And so there's, Costco. And again, that's 15, 20 minutes So you're not really close to anything really super close. There are a couple little burger stands and a couple little fast food type
Well,
operations out there.
I was just interested because it's so beautiful and remote, and yet it's still only 15 minutes away
15
from
to 20 minutes from
something
somewhere.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going
So
to
you
take you
got-
15 to 20 minutes probably to get to Stanwood, Marysville, Smoky Point, right? Your 3 local destinations where you'd actually find somewhere to go out to eat.
Right.
There's other little local things like in the disc golf course. There's a disc golf course out there, Kayak Point.
Oh wow.
And so I think there's a couple little places you can eat, maybe on the weekends or when they're busier.
Cool.
But
it's a beautiful home. I mean, great location.
It's a neat community. I mean, it's a really tight knit community. You've got, probably 15, 20 people that live there full time, and everybody else is, either second homes or they're renting them out as short term rentals. And so they're occupied by Airbnbers.
Wow. Yeah.
But it's just really cool. You would not think a beach like this exists in Western Washington this close to us. It is unfortunately private, but you can access kayaks. So you guys that, we're not going to be able to just go to McKees Beach, right? But you can go to Kayak Point Regional Park, which is just north of there. As a matter of fact, this beach connects to Kayak Point Regional Park's beach. So it's the same beach. They're side by side essentially, or nearly side by side. So if you want to get a flavor as to what that beach looks like, you can just go to Kayak Point Regional Park.
Oh wow.
And good feel. And that beach is obviously continuous. And then if you go south of McKees on the beach, that's adjacent to that community is the tribal land. The Tulalip tribe owns the beaches south of there. And so on the tribal land, if you go to try to buy on one of those beaches, they have really strict rules as to how long you can live there, during the year, and different rules and regulations related to the tribe. And so this particular beach, this is the first one north of the tribal land, and it does not have any of those restrictions. As a matter of fact, like I said, we've been talking, you could do short-term rentals, and that can mean 1 night, 3 nights, 5 nights. You can rent it for 9 months, whatever that looks like for your situation. So if you wanted to keep it reserved for yourself for, specific weekends during the year, you can do that and then rent it out the rest of the time. Right, Dan?
That's right. Man, that's a good spot. I mean, it's a very neat spot.
It's private. So you don't have the public coming down there and using the beach. It's literally just the locals, and everybody takes care of it, right? Nobody's leaving dog poop on the beach or along the street, right? So you've got a bunch of owners that live down there that have a lot of pride, and so they take care of the place. So anyway, it's just really cool down there, and I've never been down there before. I do know one of the owners, this guy Mike. I'm not going to say his last name, but he has five rentals in there. So
wow.
Mike, the guy who does the ADUs.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yes.
He has. So and then I've met quite a few of the other landlords in there that have dropped by while I was working on the place or getting it ready for the market.
Oh, Mike from Chicago Title.
Yes. So. Anyway, so pretty popular guy down there because he has, he owns 5 of them. So anyway,
well, you ready to get over to King County?
Oh yeah, should we do that?
Do a little stats by cat.
Just kind of yammering away over here. Oh, there's that pretty beach again.
Oh, here we go. Wait a minute. Let's get
it from the cottage.
Hang on. Let's figure this out. There we go. Now we're cooking. Okay. Now we're up and running. There we go.
So was that right? 40%. Yeah, I did it right. Okay, good. I was just checking to make sure my numbers are right. So These numbers have they came down a bit in March, Dan, and then now they've come back up a bit, but they're still softer than they were in February, right?
Yeah.
January,
Yeah.
February. They
Yeah.
really are. As a matter of fact, do I have that right here? Let me just tell you, because we've got 40% of sellers getting under contract within the first 7 days on the market. And let me just give you an example. So, as a matter of fact, I can just go back to, it would have been March 16th to the 22nd. It was 52%. So you can see King County has slowed down significantly more than Snohomish. They also work quite a bit hotter. So let me go back to, okay, here we go. Here's February 23rd through March 1st. This is kind of fun to kind of go back in history just a few months. And we had 59% of sellers getting under contract within the first, 60%. What am I saying? This was February 16th to the 22nd. 60% of sellers in King County were getting under contract the first 7 days. So that is the third week of February, guys. So you can see we're now at 40%.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
and
Yep.
if I go back even a little further,
I will tell you, from my perspective, it's the best buyer's market we've had at this time of the year in a while.
And certainly for this, so far this year, you guys, it's the best buyer's market. Not that it's a buyer's market, don't get me wrong. But back even in January 12th through the 18th, we had 53% of sellers getting under contract. So our market is now slower for sellers than it has been since essentially the first of the year. And let me even go back. Yeah, because even December data was just amazing. I mean, even back in January 12th through the, January 5th through the 11th, that essentially the first to second week in January, 61% of sellers were getting under contract within the first 7 days. And so that's a huge difference from where we're at now with only 40%. So it's worth mentioning just because, yes, we have more inventory coming on the market, and that's kind of where the rub lies, right? We've got more inventory coming on the market. King County month supply of inventory is up to 1.6 months.
Yeah, I saw that.
So, and back then, where were we at? We were
like
at
0.8, 0.9, something like that.
Well, 1.2 in January, which is a lot less than we were. And then we were, 1.2 into January, 1.1 beginning of February, and 0.9. We've gotten down to 0.9 months of inventory in King County, and that would have been the second week of February. And so, and then we went back up to 1, back down to 0.9. So we hovered around 0.9 in 1 month for about 30 to 45 days between February and early March. And now we've and even into the beginning of March, we were at 0.8. So we'd gotten down to the lowest that first week of March. And then we started going back up again. So the end of March was one month. And then we got into April, and go past all my taxes into April. And we were at 1 month, and then it just 1.2, which was just a couple weeks ago. And then 1.5, and then 1.5, and this is just week over week. And then we're at where we are now, which is 1.6. So you could see that it started going up dramatically in April is what happened.
Then you've got a cool other chart here. You want me to put it up the first 8 weeks?
Yeah, sure. Put that up. Yep.
This is a really cool chart.
So what this shows is I took all the listings, you guys, all the single family residential, not new construction, not condos. I took all the listings from January 1st, homes that went on the market January 1st to February 12th. And then that set, I waited another 8 weeks after the last one got listed. And I looked at the data to see what week they went under contract, right? And then we put them in a pot, right? We put them in a bucket. So the first week, you can see 55% of sellers got under contract during the first 0 to 7 days in January 1st through February 12th for those listings, 55%. Now that is not happening now. We have less right now. We're down to 40%. So, but in week 2, what's very interesting is the next week, only 10% of those guys got under contract, right? Out of that original bucket. And there was a lot of homes. There was 1,362 homes listed during that, 6, 7, 8 week time frame. I think it was like 6 or 7 weeks. And then week 3, down to 5% of them got under contract. By week 4, only 3% more got under contract. Week 5 and 6 were 2%, and week 7 and 8 were 1.4%. So the whole point of me making this chart was to illustrate to sellers, especially, and also to buyers, that if that house doesn't fly off the market in the first 7 to 14 days, it just looks dire. It just the market gets really tough on you. There's just very little chance that you're going to go under contract each successive week. So, and obviously it's house by house specific, if there are any inherent challenges that haven't been addressed or can't be addressed, right? So power lines and being on up a steep hill or down a steep driveway can be inherent challenges that are difficult to overcome. But if you have a regular, a typical resale home, and then it should go under contract within the first week or 2. It really should, especially in this case, it was 55% were getting under contract the first 7 days. Right now, we've only got 40% in King County. So that data is going to look a little more spread out, but I still think the first 2 to 3 weeks are going to be vitally important. And I don't even know, I'd stretch it to the 3rd week. So you need to think about strategy if you don't get under contract right away. So you make sure you're getting that the house priced appropriately to start with, and also prepared appropriately to start with. So very, very important. The first 2 weeks, you guys, are just vitally important. You get those things right. You don't get to make up for deferred maintenance after you've been on the market a couple of weeks. Now market time is just going to kill you. Buyers stop looking at houses when they've been on the market too long. They're sure that something's wrong with them. Right. So that's what's going on now. Everybody looks at the pretty shiny new listings. So that's where the attention goes. But anyway, I think that's interesting. You want to talk about Snohomish?
Yeah, let's go Snohomish. I think that's a really interesting chart. So I
do too, and I need to take it for later in the spring. But I thought that early data was fascinating, and I could take another subset of March. I could take all of March, and we could look at that, because at least for the first 4 weeks so far, and then by the 1st of June we can have all 8 weeks. So we can take a look at what happened in March, real soon.
Yeah, that would be awesome. That'd be very interesting.
Yeah, because I think this is interesting going forward. Sorry, I'm sitting all cross while I get on my dining room chair here. I think going forward, I think this is the kind of information sellers need to be equipped with to make decisions. When they list their house, and to be scared if there doesn't look like they're going to get off the market right away. So, and a good indication of that is how many showings are you getting that first weekend?
Yeah, that's right.
So Snohomish County, they were not as hot as King County right out the gate at the first of the year, but they definitely were in a better spot than they are now overall. So I think we've got we still 1.1 month supply of inventory in Snohomish County. That's been very stable. We've been at 1.1 for a long time. We did get down to 0.8 at a certain point, I think in February or early March, but we've stayed right at 1 to 1.1 months for quite some time. So that's good news, I guess. But let's see, back in November, we were 1.3. So November wasn't as good, but it started getting better. I think in December we had, MSI for us, for Snohomish County is 1.1 in December. And so I think, and then we got down to 0.9 in March, beginning of March, and 0.8 second week of March. And so that's, kind of the history of the month supply of inventory in Snohomish County. And then if we look at how many sellers were getting under contract within the first 7 days on the market, back the first, actually the end of February, we had 63% getting under contract within the first 7 days. Is that right? Yeah, it is right, actually. The last week of February, 63% getting under contract within the first 7 days. And so right now in Snohomish County, we have 59%. So it's not that bad, but it's still less. We have a little more inventory, and our numbers are coming down a tad. But the 7-day data is 43% are getting under contract within the first 7 days, and it's 59% by week 2. So that's still some pretty strong data. And where you kind of get a hybrid is when you're looking at South Snohomish County and North King County, because there's quite a difference between the two counties, a half a month difference actually. And so you get down towards the King County line, and you're actually seeing much more like 1.3, 1.4 months supply of inventory.
Huh. So. You mean like in the Linwood area or something like
that?
Yeah,
Linwood. Yep. Montlake Terrace, kind of Bothell. Yep. Those areas in there. Because I just did a market analysis, and I took a 5-mile radius around there. And I was looking specifically at 1 million to 1.5 million, but it was 1.4 months supply of inventory. So, and that's right there near the King County, Snohomish County line. And that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's, but I just think it's interesting. I also, the multiple offer situation is interesting to me too, Dan. So King County, 34%. Let's see. Yeah, this is brand new data yesterday. 34% of contracts that were turned in experienced multiple offers. The sellers experienced multiple offers, 34%. So 1 in 3 had of the contracts of the homes that went under contract in the last 7 days. And in Snohomish County, that's 29% are getting multiple offers.
That's still a pretty strong market. I mean,
it is a strong market. It is a strong market. It's still a good seller's market. That's what I keep telling people. Yes, it's softening a tad, but my idea of softening is not prices coming down. Prices are not coming down yet. So this is just, market is just, it's just, it kind of, gets fat, goes up and up. And then we may still be going up price wise because we still have the multiple offers driving up prices, right? So when you still have a good percentage of sellers that are getting multiple offers, we're experiencing those going over asking price, and they can go substantially over. As a matter of fact, we know that in Snohomish County, we only had 26% that sold for less than list price in 30 days, in 0 to 30 days sold data. So just the last 30 days of closings, 48% went over asking price. 16% in Snohomish County got 5% or more over, and that's significant. So 5% over asking price is significant. So on $1 million house, it's $50,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, and we've got 6% that got 10% or more over asking price. And so, 6%, that's 10% or more. That's on $1 million home. That's $100,000. So 6% of sellers got $100,000 or more over if they had $1 million house on the market. So, and 2%, 15% over, and 1%, 20% or more over. So very few are getting the 20% mark or the 15% over. So it's more limited to 5 to 10% for going over asking price in Snohomish County. Now, King County, 55% sold for over list price in the last 30 days. 27% got 5% or more. 10% or 14% got 10% or more. So that's a lot more than Snohomish County. Snohomish County, only 6% got 10% or more. So King County does have, the sellers are willing, or the buyers are willing to pay more money to live in certain areas of King County. So we've got 7% going 15% or more over asking, and 2%, 20% or more. So we're not in that market where we're doing 15, 20% over asking anymore like we were a few years ago, but we are getting 5 to 10%.
Still pretty strong. Hey, let's take a look at it. You sent over that chart on Snohomish County also, let's chart. Let's look at that. Hang on here. I got to figure out how to get this out of here. Okay, hang on. There we go.
So 49% of sellers, again, the same set of sellers, but for Snohomish County, right? There was 519 homes that were listed between January 1st and February 12th this year. Of those homes, I followed those to see how many got under contract the first 7 days. 49%, almost half.
Wow.
Days 8 to 14, another 10% of that original group. So 51, 52 got under contract that second week. And then after that, it was 8% the third week. And then it dropped to 3% each week after that, weeks 4, 5, 6, and 7. And the week 8 was 1%. And so that's, what you see is the level of interest really dropping quickly. And again, really kind of lighting a fire under those sellers. When you go on the market, you need to be cognizant of most of the buyer attention will disappear after weeks 1 or 2. So in this particular case, as the market starts to slow a little bit, those numbers are going to get spread out more over time, and it gets less important. But it's still those first 2 weeks do really matter. In every situation, that first week or 2 are going to be way higher than the other weeks, 3 through 8.
Right.
So it just underscores how important it is to price it right to start with, and no deferred maintenance, if you can help it, or you're going to be pricing accordingly. So, and make sure that you get it properly prepared. So doing a pre-listing inspection is probably a really good idea. Making sure the roof and the gutters are clean, exterior paint in good shape, interior paint in nice shape, windows clean inside and out. I can't tell you how many times I show a house and the windows are dirty, and I can't tell if the windows have failed or not. The panes.
So I got a question for you, Kat. I can't remember. I think it's good. What is that paint, that nice white paint that you like on the inside of a house? Was it like Chantilly lace or something like that?
Oh, Chantilly lace, yes.
Yes.
Benjamin Moore Chantilly lace. If you're going to paint your house white on the inside, that's a fantastic color. It doesn't lean yellow. It doesn't lean pink. It doesn't lean purple. It's fantastic. So I prefer that Sherwin-Williams not try to duplicate that. I think you're best off getting it from the original supplier. Costs a little more. But Benjamin Moore, but it's just a good color. It's a really good color. So, and a lot of people are doing white right now. So to be
there's
fair.
your tip of the day, Chantilly lace.
Chantilly lace, Benjamin Moore. Cat's pick for white. So anyway, Dan, what else you got? So the market, you guys, is pretty good for buyers, or for sellers, I should say. For buyers, you're on notice that if you really like a house, that you may have to compete. There's a little bit of a chance that you might have to compete, and but don't hesitate throwing your hat in the ring. You can even try, if you want to try a little bully offer. Homes are not selling for as much over asking price as they had been in previous years at this time of year, and so you might try a lower dollar bully offer. And the idea would be to get the seller to take it off the market before their offer review date. So you would be buying them, offering them money to take it off the market early. That's what a bully offer would be. You can also write a regular offer, right? But if there's an offer review date, they're not going to take an offer that's not offering them over asking. That's the whole point of when you submit an offer early, you need to give them some kind of incentive. Sometimes cash is enough,
You know what I love about these stats that you've got?
Oh.
It's that seriously, I'll tell you what I love about it so much is that both on the listing side, you can look at it and it's like half glass, half empty, half full, right? If you're looking at the listing side, you craft one certain type of strategy to maximize your returns. If on the other hand, you're on the buy side, you can look at this and take away something completely different, that maybe we ought to look at these other houses, especially if we're first-time home buyers.
Yes.
Don't have much money to put down, not going to be putting in over ask. Maybe we should look at these houses that are at least over 2 weeks old, right?
That's right. I mean, for one thing, buyers might be able to negotiate with the seller for a 2-1 buy down, for a temporary interest rate buy down. Sorry, I'm going to have to plug in, you guys. For a 2-1 buy down, right? And so a lot of times you can get the seller to pay for that, cover that cost. And essentially what happens is that money, if you can get them to do, $15,000, $20,000 buy down, then that money will sit in an account with the lender, and it will supplement your payments to equal 2% of your interest rate payment for the first year, and then 1% of your payment, the interest rate for the second year. So if you started with a 6% interest rate, then your first year would be calculated, your payment would be calculated at 4%. And so that money would be used to supplement that payment. So it's actually money in the bank. You can use that money if you decide to refinance. You can use that money, right, Dan? You can apply that towards your refi, to either buy the rate down or whatever the fees are. So that's just money sitting there waiting to be used by you, the buyer. And so, I mean, for certain applications, you can't go buy soda with it.
No, but you're absolutely correct.
Products, right?
That's right. So it's a terrific program, but especially if you're in a situation where the seller is looking to contribute closing costs. That's where and usually you're going to be more likely to run into that situation when you're over 2 weeks old, 4 weeks. The further out
so
you
you're
get.
going to have sellers that are going to be more willing to negotiate after they've been on the market 3 or 4 weeks. Maybe after 2 weeks, but you're not going to get a lot out of a seller that's getting an offer within 2 weeks. You're more likely to get a negotiating potential with someone that's been on the market 3 weeks or longer. And the longer they've been on the market, the more likely they're going to be willing to negotiate. So generally speaking. But you can get part of your closing costs covered. You could negotiate in a regular transaction type manner, in that you submit your offer with an inspection contingency if that house has not had an inspection, or you feel like you want to have your own inspection. So you can also have the sewer scoped if it's got a sewer. You can be present during the septic inspection and pumping if you want as a buyer, if it hasn't already been done. So there's a lot of benefits to negotiating in a normal manner, if you could do that and not be caught up in these competitions that cause people to make irrational decisions. Did I say that?
Yeah, you can say that. Yeah, sure.
It does, because it pushes people into that mentality of the winning thing, right? And so sometimes people will want to win at all costs. And they are willing to, at the moment, throw away some of their rights, right? Cast away some of their rights, like the right to have an inspection or the right to keep a financing in play, their financing contingency in play. So people will often waive inspections or waive financing when they shouldn't be.
Right.
That's what I mean by, casting away your rights. So.
Well, I think on that note.
Are we done?
I think we're done. I think so for this week.
Kat, it's
been great seeing you.
I know, you too. All right. See you guys. We're going to sign off. Bye. Oh, look at me.